Hey, you. Yeah, you. I want to talk to you about something. The humble 2.5 gallon tank. Yes, this is a dirty one that I'm cleaning up, of course. But this thing has gotten so much use, and I want to show you, and you, and you, and you, I want to show you all what these tanks are capable of, because you can breed so many incredible fish in these little tanks, and most people don't think it's possible. Most people think you need a big breeder and a big grow out tank, but I am going to show you how I like to grow out my tanks and how I like to keep things natural. So let's take a look in the fish room. All right, so we're in the fish room. I'm gonna set down this dirty tank that needs cleaning, that has been oh so kind to me for probably 5 or 6 years. If you're not already familiar with this tank, this is a tank that has been going now 2 years as of October, and this is a beautiful tank that has gold 24 karat neocaridina shrimp, and they love to reproduce in here. We also have snails. We have some bronze, and we also have some just normal ram's horn snails. Then we have 5 to 6, depending on my mood. Sometimes there's ruby tetras, sometimes there are these chili rasboras, which I absolutely love. And these guys eat the pests. So any sort of little seed shrimp, see those little white dots right there on the algae covered wall, right there? Those are little critters, and that is completely what feeds these fish. I don't need to feed these fish, and in fact, if I do feed these fish anything that's pre-prepared, they'll wait for that for 2 or 3 days rather than doing their job, which is to eat any pests. So any sort of planaria or any sort of little seed shrimp or scuds that may get in here, their job is to eat that. Then there's a couple nearite snails and a mocha snail. Their job is to eat the hard stuff in here. Now, I could scrape the front if I wanted it to look pretty, but the most important part of all this is this has been going for 2 years, and literally there is a $12.50 light. This is a light from Home Depot or Lowe's. It came in a 2-pack, and it's a floodlight for outside that you mount on a house or something. And it's pretty bright. It only has one mode, which is on and blinding. But it will grow plants. It's a great one. Now, if I'm doing shrimp, I try to keep scuds out of my shrimp tank. I don't want scuds in my shrimp tank. Now, these tanks are super useful because you can grow scuds in these tanks. So just like this tank here, it gets all my trimmings. So any of the tanks that are set up down here that have too much of something, too much guppy grass, or a little bit too much mulm, or they're growing some algae that's unsightly, I will trim that and I will put that in these tanks. I have a 5, and then two 2.5s. They are full of scuds, which then I feed to my medium-sized fish. Now I use a turkey baster, and usually I'll start with the lights off, and these get 15 hours of light a day. So they get a lot of light so that I can get algae. And then the algae feeds the Daphnia, the Scuds, planaria, anything else, all the little creepy crawlies that live in a tank. And then I can meter with a turkey baster or a pipette what I want to allow into my tanks. Now, these are bigger tanks, obviously, so it's all part of a system in my aquarium. But here we have my primary consumers of scuds. We've got the white cheek goby from Yunnan province of China. And then we also have the lovely Tianacara, also known as the black stripe cichlid or black stripe dwarf cichlid. Also, I feed scuds to all of my wild. Here we have Beta imbolus, another 2.5 tank. A lot of people will say, Alex, you can't keep fish in a 2.5. And pardon the water stains. I'm being real. I just got out of the hospital, been home about a week and 2 days, and I haven't cleaned everything. I want you to see how these tanks, literally how well they did while I was gone. And I didn't have to feed them at all, these ones. All these 2.5s are self-sufficient, basically. So I'll give them more Scuds every once in a while out of here. These are all Scuds on the glass. Also, I have a larger type of Scud in this tank, and then in here we've got Daphnia, Infusoria, and Scuds. Now the Infusoria and the little tiny white worms that look kind of like Planaria, but they're actually white worms, no triangular head, that are in these tanks. And even here you can see cyanobacteria is eating some sort of junk that's in there. All of this has been going for years. And I go out to my pond, and I will every so often replenish with some new DNA the group. I don't know if they could even get inbred. I kind of highly doubt it. But, you know, it seems possible. Now, I also feed Scuds to my baby glass belly guppies. Yet again, there's a light on them just for the benefit of the floating plants to control nitrates, the hornwort to control nitrates. And down below, no deep substrate or anything, just a little bit of crushed coral so that their TDS and their water is a little bit harder. Then over here, yet again, we have bettas. I have a female betta hanging out right here, and she is ready to lay eggs soon. So hopefully, you can see how big her belly is right now. Hopefully the male, which he's probably on the other side, they have so much plant in here in just a 2.5 gallon, no filter, no heater. The room is heated to 75 to 78 degrees, depending on the temperature of the day. Here is another shrimp tank, just like the one down below. This one gets more light up here and a lower grade light, not as intense. So it kind of grows more algae, and these shrimp live completely off algae. The other day I did give them some supplemental calcium wafers, and the snails kind of exploded. And that is just telling me that I fed too much. I didn't need to do that. They were good as they were. Here is another betta that I got from a friend, and it's recovering, but he is doing his thing. He's only got half the water in this tank right now, and he's got tons of plants. It's not a big tank. It's a small tank. Now, over time, yes, I will transition my bettas over into big 20 longs or 40 breeders, or even, you know, something like here where we're going to turn the light, and we've got a different kind of algae, naturalistic South American setup where we've got these Mate tetras, and we've got some cories back in there, some bandit cories. And lots of algae, lots of plant clippings. They're doing good. Now, what I really want to show you guys, and what I think is probably most exciting or most replicatable, is I will go out to my ponds. I'll use this turkey baster, and I'll collect any Daphnia, Infusoria, any little dots floating around moving that are not Scuds, that are not dragonfly nymphs. And I'll avoid mosquito larvae for the most part, unless they're really, really tiny, like no-seum type species. And then I will take a whole bottle of water as this evaporates off every 2 or 3 days, and I'll just pour that water from the pond outside, especially during the summer when it's really going alive and kicking. And in here, you'll see that there are Malawa shrimp. Now, they're my favorite shrimp, and also you probably just saw a little white dot settling down. So we're going to take a little gander. We'll explore with the turkey baster, but in here, we have little fish. So we have wild bettas. These are Betta mahachiensis, and they are so full that their bellies are red and like swollen. That is how much food is in here. Now, it's just Sawassertang and a little bit of Anacris and some pond snails, leopard print pond snails. And then the shrimp are here to basically manage any sort of algae. But also, they're in here to have babies, because their babies are yet another source of fresh, live food for my number ones in here, which are these guys, the little bettas. Now, I scooped these little bettas out of their container. Look, they're starting to actually get pigment. But they're in here eating all those tiny little microorganisms and even these little shrimp. Is that shrimp going to be a snack? It's thinking about it. Sorry, guys. Let's stop the shaking. Yes! definitely that shrimp just became a snack. So it's a good thing that these Malawa shrimp are super prolific. Then, any pests that I see, such as large scuds, those could take out shrimp, those could even take out fry. So I try to make an effort to, any planaria or shrimp that I see in here, I will catch with the turkey baster. Looks like we got a scud here. And then all you do is you bring it over to your mid-sized fish that absolutely love those things. And they get so excited and worked up. They get so happy. I could use no planaria and just like wipe them all out. But here's a planaria. And I'll suck it up with the turkey baster. Let's see here. With the turkey baster. Abducted like a little alien going back to the mothership. And these hovering loaches and pencilfish absolutely love eating those. They will just nom 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 eat them up. But if I feed them food from processed food, if I give them the good stuff, they won't eat it. So I have to make sure that they are eating from an actual food web that makes sense for their size and body, and keep them a little hungry. Now, this isn't how I raise all fish. This isn't how I breed all fish. But this system does work wonders for me. And, you know, what you can do, you can have a shrimp species in with all your baby fry. You can have even nano fish in with some of your shrimp, but you're going to lose some of your baby shrimp, as we just saw with the fry from the bettas. And then in your mid-sized fish tank, you can feed a lot of different fish. The planaria, the scuds, and it's work. Up here, we've got a domestic betta splendid, because yet again, none of these tanks have filters or heaters or anything other than like a light going across them. And same with the food for those tanks. Same with the algae making tanks. And I literally just go in here with the turkey baster and suck up all these scuds. I have an episode of Scuds, I have an episode on Daphnia, I have an episode on micro worms, vinegar eels. There are so many options out there of things you can grow and culture. That's what's in these bottles up here. And then you can just squeeze those, let them go, let it go, let it go. And they will give all your fish quite the run for their money. The fish will hunt them. They'll get their hunting instinct. They're much more likely to breed. They're getting their good protein. And it's also super entertaining to watch. Plus, their colors look so much better when that happens. Likewise, I take these rocks that are getting algae on them over time, just in any old tank, and then we introduce them to the tanks with fish that need them. Also, you can see here, we've got some goodeids. And again, sorry for the dirty glass, but goodeids living with gudgeons, living with more pencilfish. These are Beckford pencilfish. And they eat all the nuisance critters. So does this little bumblebee goby. They don't get fed a whole lot. They get fed a little bit. All of these guys will nibble on algae. And just look at all the baby being born from these little live bearers. These once extinct and now rather rare live bears. There's got to be 50 babies in this tank altogether. So many that I added a couple to this tank to live with metallic live bearers that are in here. Then we've got the betta embolus, and they're living their best life. They're still rather small in siblings, but they will pair off. If I see any aggression or any damage to the fins, that's when it's time to move them. That's when they might get an upgrade to a 10-gallon tank. Or a 5-gallon tank, like up in here. And in fact, they can live in these tanks that are murky. These have 0 ammonia, 0 nitrites or nitrates. Look at all those scuds. And if you follow my info, my instructions on keeping fish the way I keep fish, you can definitely replicate this. And the 2.5 gallon, when you're playing musical fish, when you're paying attention, you're seeing how big they're getting. Look, there are 2 males in here, right here. And yes, you see some gill flaring, which is saying, hey, this is my territory. He's the top dog, or top fish, as it were. And that male, he just knows to back down. And that's that. The female up here, she does her thing. He does his thing to show off to her. And I pulled those babies out of this very tank. Those ones over with the shrimp. I think I got 8 or 9 that I saw. And they were like eyelashes when I took them out of here. But, yet again, all of this is subject to change. All of these could go into bigger tanks. They will go into bigger tanks when they're bigger, or if I have a breeding project. But in the space of 140 breeder, I can fit, literally, I can fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across, and that's lengthwise, and then another 6. So I can fit 12 of these tanks, or one of these. So the amount of mixing of species or selecting of certain shrimp or of certain snails or of certain fish that I can do and select traits I want and things is absolutely phenomenal this way. Plus, it's still a very natural nature tank with a whole food web that works, and I love that. I love watching it. I want to challenge you guys to maybe give these small tanks a chance. You know, they're not for everyone. Very labor intensive. You need to be very detail oriented and pay attention and know your fish. It's not for beginners. But when you know your fish and when you're excited and you're waiting for those cues, I think this is the best system out there. Lucas Bretz is another person. He uses a little bit bigger tanks. I've tried to shrink it down because I'm so used to living in apartments and things up here in Seattle. And I like the small species more than any of the others for the most part. But I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about it, what you guys do, any tricks you have. Are you guys doing it filterless like I am? And do you heat the fish room rather than heating each tank? I'd love to hear your tips and tricks. I'm always learning from you guys as well. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like, subscribe if you made it this far, and I have earned it. I really, really appreciate your support and you guys being a part of the community. I'll see you guys next time when we're looking at what I've got that's brand new in one of these 2.5 gallons. See you later and have a great day.